Hi everyone, Mike here from Bikes by Mike with another cycling related video. Today I'm doing a follow-up to the video I did last year on how Rouvy is a better indoor training app to Zwift. I got a lot of viewer comments on this one, so keep watching to see what your fellow viewers had to say about this topic and whether everyone agreed with me. Spoiler alert, you didn't. Okay, let's get to it. Today's video has only two parts. In the first half, I'll summarize all the comments I received on my initial video. I'll tell you which cycling app viewers prefer and why that app is their favorite. The second half is in response to the many questions and comments I received about erg mode. I'll explain what erg mode is and how it can be used within Rouvy. In the video I did last year, I put out my opinion of the 3 best features of Rouvy that beat out what you find in Zwift. The first is the reality level, the second is the racing and group riding experience, and the last one is the unique ability to use Rouvy as a pre-race prep tool, allowing you to recon real-world routes in a very realistic way. While I don't believe that any of the training apps are perfect, that original video was really about making the case for why I believe Rouvy is the best of the lot. And while I wasn't planning on doing a follow-up to that video, given that it received more views and more comments than almost any other video I've made so far, yeah, I know, it's pathetic, eh? I figured there is more to say about this topic. So I reread the couple hundred comments I received, tallied them up, and categorized them into the most common opinions that you, the viewers, shared on my channel. Not surprisingly, some of you strongly favor either Rouvy or Zwift. But what I found more interesting is that a decent number of you stated that you like both apps equally. Come on, you cycling neutrals, just take a side, please. Others commenting said they haven't decided which app is best and which they plan on using. And while I'll mention some of the other apps that some viewers prefer, what I think your comments show is that none of the apps are doing everything perfectly, including Rouvy and Zwift. All of them have room for improvement. So let's take a closer look at your comments. I received a total of 83 responses from viewers that commented specifically about their preference in cycling apps. Nearly half of you chose Rouvy as your favorite, while 16% chose Zwift. 14% of you said that you have no preference and like Rouvy and Zwift equally. Finally, nearly a quarter of you said that you were either still undecided or you identified another app that is your favorite. Now let's take a look at why viewers like their preferred app, starting with the 48% of you that chose Rouvy over Zwift. Many of you like the same features I mentioned in my original video. That being the realism factor, overall user experience, and the user interface, with many of you selecting all three. The next most common reason mentioned is ability to pre-ride real-world routes, which 7% of you said was great for training or as a pre-race preparation. A feature that doesn't exist in Zwift. An equal number of you prefer Rouvy's workout features to those found in Zwift, and 15% of viewers identified some other reason. Now let's look more closely at the 16% of you that indicated a preference for Zwift over Rouvy. Here we see more similarities in responses. If a reason was mentioned, it was either because Zwift is better for social networking, or that there are more riders using the platform. No other reasons were mentioned. Not terribly surprising results, as everyone, regardless of your app preference, pretty much agrees that Zwift is the hands-down favorite in those two areas. The 14% of respondents that said they like Rouvy and Zwift equally do so for the same reasons stated by the I love Rouvy and I love Zwift groups. The fact that almost a quarter of you didn't identify either Rouvy or Zwift as a hands-down favorite kind of indicates a lack of dominance in this market. Be Cool and Indie Velo are the two apps most often mentioned as better alternatives to Rouvy and Zwift. I received a number of questions and comments regarding Rouvy's erg mode. But first, let me explain what erg mode is for those unfamiliar with the term. Erg mode stands for ergometer mode, a feature present in Rouvy and Zwift, but many other smart trainer apps as well. It allows you to set a prescribed power output, and then the app, in communication with your trainer, will adjust your bike's resistance to match your cadence, so that your actual power output does not deviate from your target power. So if you increase your cadence from say 80 to 100 RPMs, the resistance felt through your pedals will decrease, so that your power output remains unchanged. Conversely, you'll feel more resistance by reducing your cadence. The alternative to riding in erg mode is using sim mode. Sim stands for simulate, and it is sim mode that separates smart trainers and smart trainer apps from dumb trainers. The resistance you feel through the pedals is not preset to specific wattage, nor is it consistent. Rather, it is determined by those conditions that generate resistance when riding in the real world. Things like the terrain, whether you're going up or down a hill, what gear you're in, and depending on the app you're using, possibly whether you're drafting behind another rider. The only real-world condition that most cycling apps do not use to determine bike resistance is wind speed and direction. Most simply default to a no-wind environment. So now that we're on the same page as to what erg mode is, let me say a few words about how erg mode is used within Rouvy. As I mentioned, I received several comments specifically about erg mode. One viewer correctly mentioned that you can only complete workouts in erg mode, and they would like to be able to switch back and forth between erg and sim modes during their workouts. Another viewer said they'd like the option to choose either erg mode or sim mode when riding routes and in competitions. And this viewer indicated a similar preference to be able to ride in erg mode while following routes. Many of you had great suggestions on how Rouvy could improve their erg functionality, but I also got the sense that there was some misunderstanding on how exactly erg modes work in Rouvy. Let me explain. You can basically use the Rouvy app in one of four ways. There are challenges, routes, events, and workouts. Events can either be in the form of group rides or races. These four scenarios correspond to the four main menu options you have within the Rouvy app. Challenges, routes, and events must be ridden in simulation mode. Erg mode is disabled for these three types of rides. The opposite is true for workouts. Workouts are always run in erg mode, so sim mode is always disabled when riding workouts. But you always have the option to change your prescribed power up or down at any time by toggling the plus and minus buttons on the right-hand side of your screen. Here's the thing, if you choose to ride a route by selecting it through the routes menu option, your only option then is to ride it in sim mode. For those of you that prefer to ride a route in erg mode, you need to go about it a different way. You need to use the workout feature. That's by going through the workouts menu tab in your Rouvy app and selecting freestyle workout. This option allows you to ride as far as you want for as long as you want at a prescribed power. And like all workouts, you can still change your target power setting as often as you like, whenever you want during your ride. Essentially, freestyle workouts are basically routes, but with erg mode enabled. And you have the option to select whatever route within the Rouvy database you wish. But there are three notable limitations in riding routes in erg mode through the workout menu option. First, you will not see other riders' avatars that are riding the course at the same time as you. Second, your completed workout will not appear on the leaderboards or route records. Lastly, a route that is part of an ongoing challenge will not count towards the challenge if it is completed as a workout. If you want credit for a challenge route, then complete that route by entering into it within the challenge menu option. So that is pretty much it for today's video. Thanks to everyone who provided comments. I plan to do a future video on new features and improvements I'd most like to see Rouvy develop in a future version. Many of you have already provided some good suggestions. If any others have good ideas, please drop them in the comments section. That's all I got for today, folks. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up and share it with your friends. And if you're not a subscriber to this channel, please subscribe as allow me to produce more content for all of you. See you next time. Happy rolling.